You know, whenever we discuss our history of martial arts, judo, karate, and jiu-jitsu, names come up like Chuck Norris, Jet Li, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and of course, the master, Bruce Lee. When we discuss the history of combat sports and MMA, there is only one name and one family. For over the last 90 years, no one says jiu-jitsu like the Gracies.
Now, early in the century, Royce's father, Helio, learned traditional jiu-jitsu from a traveling Japanese master. Over almost 7 decades, the techniques were modified and perfected to reflect modern street fighting situations in Brazil. Deep legend in Brazil. His father never lost the fight. His grandfather never lost the fight. Royce Gracie is following in that great tradition.
And I'm with two legends who have continued that legacy, Royce and Renzo Gracie.
Burt, it's a pleasure to be here with you, man. Oh.
Man, welcome.
I'm happy that I'm better looking than both of you, so I look good in the street.
We on deck, baby. Time to go to work. Come on, baby.
We rollin'!
Yeah! All night long, baby.
Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about the Gracie history and the Gracie philosophy going back to the first generation?
Conde Coma, so he was the one that actually taught even the concept to our family of the MMA, how to go to challenges and to fight. He fought throughout the whole Asia, Europe, and then he flew to United States. Decided to move to Brazil, where he ended up living the rest of his life. He married a Brazilian woman. He started teaching the art of jiu-jitsu, and he worked at the Japanese consulate in Belém do Pará, the tip of in the country, the east coast of from the Amazon. So he ended up living the rest of his whole life there, teaching jiu-jitsu and doing the diplomacy for his country.
Let me give you a little bit of history. In the early 1900s, Issei Maeda from Japan brought martial arts and jiu-jitsu to Brazil, where he met and taught one of 5 Gracie brothers' first generation, Carlos, who then took those ideas to his brothers, Castillo Jr., George, Oswald, and Helio, then trying to create the Gracie system. The strategy of the Gracie system was to showcase their belief that their system against any other form of martial arts or jiu-jitsu was the better system because of their theory of using weight, leverage, and specific body position. Fast forward to the 1980s when second generation Renzo Gracie introduced the Gracie system and its variation to the USA and the world. And how many family members were there at that time?
The 5 ones, the 5 original ones.
The 5 original ones.
Yes, but like Uncle Helio was too young. Uncle Helio was 11 years younger than Carlos Gracie, you know? So Uncle Helio began training really hard, and he was very dedicated. He would stay 6 months on without leaving the academy, living there the whole day, eating. You have to bring the food to him at the academy. And that was in Rio already when they opened the first school, I believe, in 1925.
Now, Helio was my understanding, he was a very small framed man.
They're all small.
Wow.
What are you talking about, Royce? I'm a giant. I look at myself.
Your grandfather.
I look at myself in the mirror and see a 7'2" guy.
Just to drop a little knowledge on you, Helio Gracie, who was also small frame, competed and was eventually credited with developing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to where it is today. In one test of the Gracie system, Helio was involved in a match with one of his students, Waldemar Santana, in what was considered to be the longest match in MMA history, 3 hours and 24 minutes. I know that the Gracie system, there was, you guys created a challenge and a test against the skill levels of other forms of martial art discipline. And you guys went from bare knuckles to 4-ounce gloves. Your members, your family members were involved in the formation or the creation of the UFC. And Royce, you fought in the first UFC. Tell us a little bit about how the family concept and the creation of that with Art Davies evolved.
It all started, I mean, we didn't start on the UFC. It started a long time ago. Like I said in the beginning, it was once my family learned, my uncles, my father, once they learned jiu-jitsu, it became a quest for them to find out which style of martial arts is the best. Everybody claims that their style is the best. There's only one way to find out. Boxing, they say, oh man, we knock out everybody. And then the karate guy comes over and said the same thing. Well, let's take the rules. Let's try out. Let's put them no rules, no time limit, no weight division, and see what happens. So it became a quest for my family to find out which style of martial art is the best. And it didn't start on the UFC. It started a long time ago. Rorion just brought the concept to America, and because what happened in Brazil, the world won't see it. So you had to come to America for the world to see it, what we have.
On November 12, 1993, Royce Gracie and the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system was introduced to the world at UFC 1 in Denver, Colorado, when Royce Gracie defeated 3 opponents in one night, all by submission. Royce Gracie became the first tournament champion in UFC history. Contributions of Royce Gracie to the family legacy and the intent of the Gracie system were the basic fundamentals of his career through Pride, UFC, K1, and Bellator.
I really believe was they tried to mimic the reality of what would happen in a street fight. So they really want to see what really worked and what it didn't. You know, Rorion was brilliant on the creation of the UFC, and he was brilliant in choosing Royce to represent us. A guy with a huge heart, and he didn't look like a giant. You know, he was an average guy that walks the street, that works in the office. You know, wasn't a bodybuilding lifter, a weightlifter guy that would, you know, like, oh, he won because he was stronger. No, he was an average guy, but he used the technique to achieve his victories. And he beat amazing fighters, amazing people. That show his greatness and the greatness of the sport, you know, that he embraced, which was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, by the way, Helgi, I've been telling people that they pick me not because of my skills. I was not the best. I was not the best of the best. They pick because of the looks. It was going to go nice on TV. They had to pick a good looking brother.
I have to say, the guy who picked you need prescription glasses.
It wasn't my skills.
So Helio,
but only I can make fun of him, and only he can make fun of me. Anybody else try to do this, I jump on him.
I've been telling people lately, people have been asking me this, why they pick me. I was like, I don't know, maybe because I wasn't the violent one. Maybe because I never had a fight before. You see, and a lot of the brothers, a lot of the cousins, they were already fighters, and maybe if they got there, they would have beat up the opponent. You see, would draw blood, and maybe my father thought that wouldn't be the goal. So, and he knew I'm the nice one.
Yeah, because the fact that he didn't look like a scary guy, a huge guy,
Understood.
full of muscles. That, you know, he looked like an average person, and that was, he goes, this will really make jiu-jitsu shine. You know,
So back
on that time, Rickson was the champion of the family. Yeah, so Royce was the perfect choice to show the world that anybody could learn jiu-jitsu.
Now, Renzo, you have a 6th-degree black belt under Carlos Rickson.
Yes.
Carlos and Rickson. Renzo Gracie is the son of Robson Gracie, grandson of Carlos Gracie, grandnephew of Elio Gracie, and first cousin removed to Royce Gracie. He debuted in 1992 on the Gracie Brazilian Vale Tudo circuit. He was also very dominant in grappling. He later fought in Pride, K1, UFC, IFL, and Elite XE.
You know, I was very lucky because I had instructors that would. I had my heroes live with me and live next to me. You know, it's like while other kids look up to Superman, to Batman, to Flash, the Flash. I love Hickson. I love Carlos Gracie Jr., Crawling, Helium. Those guys were always looking after me and making sure that I improve and that I get better and that I learned how to teach proper to pass the art ahead. So I was very lucky on that sense. And let me tell you one thing: if you ask me to go back, I could go back 20 years now in age and youth, but I'll have to delete everything that I lived. I'll tell you no, you know, because
Wow.
the memories are insane. And I believe those are the only coins that you actually take with you when you leave this life. So I'll never delete that from my mind and my
That's
heart.
100. Well, Renzo, you fought in a few organizations yourself, and it must be pretty impressive to see how the organizations operate, the different styles, and to see some younger kids or other fighters come in using your technique. You see that a lot, and what is that like?
It's unbelievable. It shows my heart that I wasn't never wrong to put every drop of sweat, every hour, every second, every neurons to think about this beautiful art. Over this weekend, I was in Vegas during the ADCC, and it was basically a jiu-jitsu competition that we designed to put wrestlers, to put judo players, to put every grapplers together. We sold 17,000 tickets in 2 days. It was completely
Wow.
sold out. There was no more tickets. And the funny thing was the gates would open at 9 o'clock in the morning and they would close 11 o'clock at night. So the place didn't stay empty for 1 second. The
That's
whole
awesome.
day, everybody was there supporting and watching those amazing matches. And I've seen things there that I couldn't believe. You know, the performance of these new kids, the kids of 19, 20 years old, what they are doing, how well they are fighting, they bring in the sport to a different level soon, you know. So in reality, it shows that guys like me, Royce, Royler, Hickson, Helium, Crawling, Carlinhos, we did an unbelievable half Ryan. We did an unbelievable job to spread the beauty of this amazing art. You know, my uncle Hollis, every single Gracie that precedes us, and every single Gracie that is coming after us, you know, is doing an amazing job to perpetuate this amazing art.
What was, and this is to each one of you, what was your greatest MMA moment ever, Renzo?
Mine,
Your
the
greatest,
next,
yes.
the next one, the one that I didn't leave yet. The other ones I already experienced. I know how they went. So my greatest moment will be the next challenge, the one that I don't know. To walk into a place with the unique idea to embrace eternity, to kiss it and embrace eternity, to live forever. So I hope the next challenge is even better than all the others that I lived already.
And Hoyce, what's been your best MMA moment?
All of them. It's hard to pick one. It's hard to pick one. All of them. From the first UFC, 3 fights in one night, to 4 fights in one night, to Sakuraba, the longest fight in history, to Akibonu, the biggest opponent ever. It's hard to pick one.
I'm going to call out a list of names to you guys, and I want you to listen to the names because I'm going to ask you questions about them. James Waring, Oleg Taktarov, Maurice Smith, Sakata, Pat Miletich, Carlos Newton, Frank Shamrock. Then I'll go to Art Jimerson, Ken Shamrock, Ron Van Cleef, Takaru, and Yoshida. Now, for you, Hoyce, what's been your best fight?
My best fight on those names, you're talking about just those names.
Yes.
I would say Yoshida. When I beat him, he did not punch me once. It was a 15-minute fight. 15 minutes, 10 minutes. The second round was 5 minutes. And he did not touch his hands on me.
And what was your worst fight? Any fight, your worst fight.
Any fight. The worst fight, I guess,
Yes.
I would say against Kimmel, because there was no strategy on that one. That was just pure heart.
What about a fight you didn't want? Did you ever have a fight that you didn't want?
No, I won all my fights. I never chose opponents. They give it to me. I was like, sure, let's do it. There was no such a thing as I don't want to fight this one.
How about a fight you didn't get?
I never look at it that way.
Okay.
I always used to say, when I'm on the top, man, people choose me. I don't choose anybody.
Okay. And Renzo, your best fight, sir?
My brother, the list of names that you mentioned there was of amazing fighters. All of those
Yes.
that I had a chance to step in the ring with
Yes.
was actually who made me who I am. I'm very thankful to them. I thank all my opponents because they taught me a lot. My best fight by far was the one with Sakuraba that I end up with a broken arm, because I always believe since growing up that the day that I went to MMA, I would never quit. I would never ask to stop. And that day was the day that I could confirm that my mind was 10 times stronger than my body, that my body would follow whatever my mind said.
Right now.
1 minute left. He needs to do something.
He needs to sink his hooks in right now. He needs to go for it.
Yeah. Okay, Renzo's on top, but Sakuraba is not in danger at all. Sakuraba, he would almost invite Renzo to try to hook the legs in because he want to go for the knee bar. Oh! What a great move by Sakuraba. He's getting into side control. Got a Kimura on Renzo Gracie.
Renzo's in danger here.
There's only 1 minute left. We don't want to have another Royce Gracie situation here, folks. What happened? Oh, was the round over? Did Renzo break his arm? He broke his arm.
So and it's a funny thing because many people ask me, did it hurt? You're not feeling. You're smiling the whole time. I say I was smiling because I was happy with my soul. I was happy with my mind, but it hurt a lot.
Wow.
But there was no chance I was given the satisfaction of my opponents to see tears in my eyes,
All right. What was your worst fight?
The one that I didn't do it. The one that I didn't have a chance to live on it. The one that I couldn't be there. That was the worst fight. So it never happened. It's the one that never happened.
Is there a fight that you didn't want?
No, every fight I sign up right away. There was times that they offered me opponents that I thought that they were too weak, and I said no. I said, please no. Give me someone tougher. I took a fight with Dan Henderson with 2 week notice. His opponent couldn't fight, so I took the fight with 2 weeks, and that was it. But basically, if I said no, it was because I thought that the guy was an easy prey. And I came for challenges. I came to really finish my life knowing who I was. I probably would be shitting my pants like everybody else, but I would know for sure who I was.
Is there a fight that you didn't get?
No. There was a rematch. I would love a rematch with Sakuraba, but it didn't seem possible. Like when I fought Yuke Kondo in one, and Yuke Kondo was a guy that I was on a fight while we were in Pride. He was an amazing champion. He fought Marius Perry. He fought Vanderlei Silva. He fought Saulo Ribeiro. So I asked back then for him, but they never gave me. And I ended up fighting him when I was supposed to fight Sakuraba at 1FC. And it was a beautiful challenge. As a guy with 110 fights, and I believe 8 or 9 years younger than me. So I was happy. I remember when I signed up to fight, they asked if I wanted someone my age. I told them, never. What do you think? This is a geriatric encounter or a convention of geriatric people? No, I want a younger guy.
aside from yourself, who would you say is one of the better MMA fighters of today? Renzo?
Man, so many talents, so many talents. I love Khabib, George St. Pierre. You know, I was lucky, Chris Weidman. I was lucky to be able to interact with them, to train with them. You know, Cerudo is amazing. I was with him this weekend, you know. And our sport is full of champions, full of full of amazing souls who represent our sport in the highest level. You know, and it's a funny thing because it's there's always someone new coming and showing amazing. Usman is an amazing soul. You know, it's our sport is very well represented.
And Royce, your thought?
Man, I love to watch my own family fight. Renzo, Boyla, Neyman, Ryan. I love to watch all my cousins, all my family fights.
It's today MMA has become a major part of television and television production. What do you think is the landscape and the condition of MMA today, Renzo?
Man, it keeps improving. It keeps growing. You know, new champions are showing up. The fighters are getting better. And it's the most entertaining product, you know. If they point on the right direction and they guide it, it's going to explode like he always did. He grew from being an unknown sport. And like Royce did, America is the windows of the world. Is the If you have something shine in America, will shine in the whole globe. And that's the living proof. UFC is the living proof, you know. And I believe now, as COVID and all these problems disappear, uh, I see sports like fighting taking off and being the number one sports in America and the globe.
And your feeling, Royce?
Man, MMA took over. I think it's only behind soccer still,
Yes.
but it took over the scene on the sports scene.
Well, I can attest to that with you. I started in this sport in 1999, and I've seen the growth, and I know it had legs way back then, and those legs are now all over the place. But along the way, I see a lot of fighters always complaining that either they're not being paid right or they're not getting enough money or this or that. And you guys have been around since the beginning. Do you agree with what some of the fighters are saying, that they're not being treated right or that the sport's not really looking out for them? Do you agree with that, Renzo?
It's basically they say that the MMA pays 13% of their income to fighters, while all the other sports are around 26, 27, some 28%.
Okay.
You have to understand one thing: shine, be a star. I don't see McGregor complaining of his payday. I don't see Khabib complaining of his payday. You know, so if you wanna get well paid, I don't complain about my payday. All the money that I made, in the MMA was I love it. I had a great time, and I think it was worth it. And work hard. Don't complain about the money. Complain about the work that you didn't do, the achievements that you didn't make. It's easy to cry. You see now in America how many communists just cry because the government's not giving them money. So it's the same situation. Be more Trump. Put your effort there, fight, prove your value, where the companies will come after you, not the other way around. You want to get in there and you want to get well paid, but you don't perform and don't deliver a performance that everybody want to see on the next UFC again. So think about that before whining and complaining about something that you didn't earn. You just want for the fact that you are there to do it. My whole life, I run a school. I taught. I made my money for my school, and the fighting was an extra money. I prepare my whole family. I never made a dime from them. I never took a dime from them. In the other hand, when I would get a business ticket, I would sell it and buy 6 economic tickets So I would give to the young generation of my family so they could go and live that moment and see how the backstage was, how fighting was. I would split my bedroom with 3, 4 relatives so they could go and watch prior with me. I was never thought of myself as a star. I thought of myself as a fighter, and I believe the money that I did wasn't little. I made well, and I think I fought for it, and I understood that from the beginning. So a lot of people complain when they should be. Understand one thing: if you go work in a restaurant and you really work hard, your boss will never get rid of you. He will give you a raise. He will look after you because you are indispensable. So working hard is the secret. Go work hard instead of being complaining about a payday.
I appreciate you guys giving me this time. I love both of you. You're great friends. You're great people. And I have truly been graced. Through 4 generations since the early 1900s, the influence of the Gracie family and their intro of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has taken mixed martial arts to a whole nother level, a level we never ever expected. Today, the Gracie tradition and its influence can be seen throughout the world of combat sports.
Triangle, watch out! Triangle! This is trouble! This is trouble! He's down there! Oh, side control from here! Look at this! Kimura! He's got him out! It's over! Right now! That's it! He's got the charge! Yeah! He's out! He is all over!
Some of the greatest fighters in MMA history have developed their skills through the Gracie system and its teachings. I'm wondering, where would MMA be today without the Gracie? I'm rolling, baby. We done.